All right, we're so glad to have you back. After a keenly contested governorship poll in Ekiti State, Fayemi emerged the winner and is, at the moment, governor-elect.
Yeah, but after he is sworn in as the executive governor in October, he will be solely responsible for running the state with help from his cabinet members. Already, he has his job cut out for him. Civil servants and pensioners in the state are owed salary arrears and emoluments.
And many insolvent states are finding it hard to fund projects or pay workers' salaries. The meager allocation they get from the Federation account is now delayed or not coming at all. What should Governor-elect Fayemi do to turn the economic fortunes of Ekiti State, revamp moribund industries, pay workers and finance projects in the state? These will form part of the questions we'll be asking our guests right here in the studio.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we have in the studio a lawyer and an Ekiti Gani Fani with us in the studio. Well, I wonder how funny that is anyway. But Ekiti is a very nice word, a collection of the Ekiti people. You're welcome to have you join us.
Yes.
And we also have in the studio a member of the APC and 2019 aspirant for the House of Representatives, Ayodele Adewale. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you,
He's been smiling, as a matter of fact, laughing, but you're not. What exactly? Is there something we need to know?
We have different natures.
Okay.
Good morning, Mike.
Right.
Good morning, Gani.
Right.
Yes, Gani, but let me start with you, certainly. I know you've been following developments in your state, and it's quite interesting how, you know, Ekiti State became a discussion point, litmus tests for politics, for tests of democracy. In fact, people in different parts of the country have been talking about the last election, how it happened, vote buying, and and all of that. But looking at how things are playing out and how it is going, what would you say that is going to be the biggest challenge facing the new governor coming in?
Well, Mike, let me start by saying that none of the states you see in this country today had basis, scientific basis for their creation. They were arbitrary creations under the military.
Okay.
For that reason, you need somebody with a sixth sense to be able to meander and get out of the place unscathed. Now, I don't envy anybody at the moment. If you hear that they are owing as much as a year and you are going in there and you are smiling, I can tell you the honeymoon will just end in a month. In fact, people are getting set.
You're talking about Ekiti, or you're talking about all the states?
Ekiti, in particular, and by reference to the rest of the country.
But Lagos is doing well.
Well, that is an exception.
All right.
Now, what you need in the circumstance is good governance. It's like you are born with a good background and somebody else is born with another background. It is now for you to survive, and you now have survivor, at least kits you have to use. That's what it might, at least all of us. If you look back to where you're coming, there are some of your colleagues who cannot reach where you are. So you have to be creative in trying to surmount obstacles. And that's why you have to embrace good governance. You have to be sincere. You leave politicking the moment you enter the place, because the time has started to run. If you are indulging in politicking, you just see the time be ticking, and then the problems will come. I don't envy anybody who becomes the governor of my state as a place where you can tinker with money like Lagos or Rivers. You are going there with virtually nothing. You want to get water out of stone. So you must be creative, and you must be someone that is ready, if possible, to take ideas even from the opponent. So if it is just what you want to hear from your party people clamoring and clapping for you, I can assure you that in no distant time, you start to get problems.
All right. Ayodele, let me bring this to you. I mean, he has said a lot of things there. Now, how challenging will Fayemi's 8-point agenda redoubled? How challenging will it be for him to deliver? He has promised to actually clear the backlog of salaries within the first 6 months. That's almost sounding political now. Mr. Fani has said there is a need to draw the line between politicking and governance.
Well, there's a saying that
the older the wine, the better its taste. But in my sense, the older a fine wine, the better its taste. Dr. Fayemi is a fine gentleman, fine cerebral person, very refined. And with his knowledge that he got during his time as governor will help him so much. I remember that he left a handover note, and by now he would have dotted his I's and crossed the T's. And with the new committee set up to midwife his entry into office, and he also serving as minister for mines and whatever, solid minerals. Yeah. His experience there, his networking and connection is also an add-up to the state. Don't be quick to forget that the federal government in recent past gave bailout, you understand, to pay a lot of the salaries which were not judiciously spent. And don't also be quick to forget that we also have the same government at the center. So it only means that the central government might have to come to assist Ekiti State in order to achieve a lot of their goals.
All right. Assisting states, I wonder if a lot of Nigerians will say, will buy the idea, especially you just also admitted that states, after bailout, did not utilize or judiciously utilize the funds that they were given. Well, let me come to you, Gani. The issue of salaries. Salary is very sacrosanct, and in Ekiti State, where it is seen as a civil service state, where a lot of those people have been owed a lot of salaries. In fact, the reason why stomach infrastructure came out as a term, the reason why the vote buying became prominent was because a lot of them were owed salaries, and then they had any little money that comes in matters a lot. How challenging would it be in the area of salaries? You've talked about the issue of creativity.
Yes, I don't know what is the report of government. But I must be a fool to think that it's going to be an Eldorado. I have been partially in government in Ekiti, even in Ondo State, serially. At the local government level, even when I was in public service, I was being seconded under the military. So I have always been at home. The only thing I have not done is to obtain a card of any political party. And say, okay, I want to launch myself or throw my heart into the ring. But I know what goes on, hands-on. Have my practice at home. It is not going to be easy. I don't think any money is being kept anywhere as it is. That will mean, again, going back to what I said earlier on, creativity, mobilizing.
But you don't think Fayemi can pay the salaries in 6 months as far as his promises are concerned?
Well, I don't. That's why one has to be very careful. I don't know whether he knows what is in the kitty before making the promises.
Or he might rely back to the federal government, just like
no, don't make the mistake about it.
Okay.
You see, the reality, all the states, so to speak, are children of the federal government. The fact that you think one state will have one advantage over the other is a ruse. There's nothing you want to do for a particular state at the expense of others. Otherwise, the president will go to Katsina to go and fend for his. He can't do it. There are constraints. That's why we have a government. Otherwise, we'll all be struggling to have our people there all the time.
Is it not those constraints that a governor, a chief executive of a state, is expected to actually overcome or work around? I mean, Mr. Gani Fani has said there is a need for creativity on the part of the state, of the chief executive. Fayemi has a lot on his plate. And then again, there's been this back and forth about what Ekiti is owing in terms of debt, 117 billion naira, according to the Fayemi camp. Fayoshe has debunked that. He's saying, as a matter of fact, that Fayemi left a debt of 84 billion when he left in 2014. So you have that on the one hand. We don't know exactly what the debt profile of Ekiti State is. But against the backdrop of whatever the debt is and the need for state executives, whether it's in Ekiti or any other state, to actually be creative, to provide that enabling environment for the economy to thrive instead of going to the center every time, for funds and bailouts.
Well, we must be very realistic in solving this problem. And as much as I've said that, I do differ from his position with the last statement that he made. Look, if any state is in their need, there's something called consideration. It depends on how you're able to push your matter forward. If you take a look at the Northeast now, the North is ravaged with,
Yes.
with insecurity and all of that. The governors of those states have always pushed for special consideration. And governors that are owing salaries also have similarly done that. You must not to be quick to forget also that there are some funds that are likely to be repatriated from foreign lands. It depends on how the government apply this fund to solving their problems. I still believe, very much believe, that there will be special consideration for the people of Ekiti State and other states that might have likely problems, so that whatever that is generated from the state is plowed into infrastructure.
What are the specific things you think Fayemi should put in place? I mean, what would be the first thing he should?
The first thing
Ekiti, for example, is known for, there's a Kokosi, warm spring, and all kinds of natural resources. You have, what's that town that you're actually going to enter as you're entering Ekiti? Beautiful landscape and all of that. I mean, a place like that should help with tourism in Ekiti State and all the other things that Ekiti has as a comparative advantage.
Madam, under the scale of preference,
yes,
the people comes first.
Okay.
The people comes first. People come along with security.
Yeah.
Before what all of these variables that we talk about. If the people are not alive, those things cannot come up. The first thing to do is pay salaries.
That town, I remember, is in Ekiti.
In Ekiti. When you pay salaries, the people be motivated to work and generate funds and also pay their taxes. Remember, these salaries you are going to pay, taxes also will be collected from it. It also go back to the system to making sure that it is standardized. If you take any money into infrastructure and the people start dying, you have failed as a governor. So on your scale of priority, the people's salary must be paid. And it is not that you are going to pay all the salaries in full. You could call them that, look, in the next 6 months, I am owing you X, Y, Z. Let me start by paying you 70% of it. You understand? Within the next 6 months, I will achieve the 30%. And while I'm paying that, I'm also putting you on the tax dragnet and bring the money back into the system to plow into infrastructure. And the more infrastructure you have, the more tendency that you are going to have investors bringing in investment. So you must get this thing very clearly.
All right. Okay. We prior to a few months ago, Governor Fayose promoted some civil servants, and that is going to also put burden on the system. But the issue there is borrowing and borrowing and borrowing has been ongoing. In fact, borrowing is very common.
It's a pattern.
Are you seeing that maybe if the governor is going to keep up the promise of meeting Ekiti people as paying their salaries, he might go borrowing again?
I don't know. Like I said, he has his own method of fulfilling the promise that is making.
Would you advise that he borrows again?
He might have no choice.
Okay.
Even Nigeria as a nation continues to borrow. And I get worried for the generations that are coming, particularly when these borrowings are not properly utilized. And I hate borrowing to pay salaries.
Yeah,
what does it bring? You see, you are merely postponing the evil day. As a lover of Ekiti, and as somebody who is emotionally attached to my state, I didn't know Lagos until after my youth service. Yes, and I was brought here physically. So I'm always emotionally attached. Yes, because I could miss my way. I'm a typical Ekiti man. When I talk, you see me. We believe people because we don't lie. But somehow we are seeing reverses in some areas. What I'm wishing for anybody, an event happened in Ekiti between 1877 and 1886. That is where the word Ekiti Parapor, collectiveness, which is similar to Ekiti, it was called Kiriji War. A young man called Fabomi rose up to defend the rest of Ekiti. Time was enough then to confront the invaders. Ekiti needs to come together and come to terms that the reason why we asked for state and was created on the 1st of October 1996, we need to sustain it. We need to be in the forefront. So that's why I think
Ekiti is a viable state? I mean, because you did say earlier that
earlier on, let me tell you,
states are a military creation.
Yes, when they were looking at, nobody was looking at indices. Why a state must be this or that. Ekiti State today is a civil service state. If you are posted to Ekiti, you would rather prefer to be in Lagos. Nobody can say you want it. Or what have you. I came here to improve myself. My parents sent me here for reasons. So we want my home state also to develop. A few days ago, about a week ago, Ogun State was was distributing CFOs in Abeokuta. 95% of them are people who come to Lagos and they can't have land and they are on the borderline areas of Ogun State. I want it to happen to my state. They are raking in revenue, left, right, and center because of population. So these are basic issues that I know. In terms of viability, if not because of the center we talk about repeatedly, and where does the federal government get its money? The states are deprived. The states are made to just sit down and say something is coming from Abuja. It is only Lagos State that has broken from that yoke and said, look, no, we don't have to wait. And there was a cause for it. It was the withholding of the allocations during the local government saga that brought out this creativity. Otherwise, what the military wanted by their regimentation is that you must always be coming to Abuja. I was surprised as a local government administrator between 1994 and 1986 that we were going to Abuja for what business? But that was what the government wanted because the government is a unitary government.
All right. And Nigeria has not been able to break away from the shackles of that.
The people who are benefiting from it don't even want it.
Okay.
Subservience.
Yes. The House of Assembly in Ekiti State is still a makeup of the present PDP to a great extent. And their tenure will elapse May 2019. How do you envisage working together with the new APC governorship in Ekiti State?
I don't envisage a problem.
Okay.
Because those who are in the House presently right now were held down. Spelled held down. They had no choice. It was like somebody putting a gun to their head. Now, you have freedom that have come to them. You're going to see a lot of them willingly moving into the APC in order to achieve their set goal under freedom. They have at that time, they were having liberty to do so many things. Now, talking about viability, Ekiti is very viable. I was speaking to a lady just last week, and she said she was taking her son to Afe Babalola University, and she was going to pay about 2 million naira. So if it's not viable, why is she going there? People that administrating the state only have to think outside the box. I was the chairman of local government. No state, no federal government, stopped me for interfacing with foreign government. I was interfacing with the British and American government to the extent that the US Marines were coming in to do outreach medical programs in my local government. Nobody stopped me. So it is just for you to think out of the box. Ekiti is more viable than Dubai. Dubai is a desert land for heaven's sake. Ekiti has a lot of lovely, very vegetarian opportunity there, and a lot of landscape that people can come in for tourism. It is just for you to set your priority right, look at what you have. Ekiti is more of an agro society, you understand? Look at crops that are viable. Take, for instance, the Oni of Ife. You did something very wonderful recently. It took a lot of land and started cocoa plantation. Similarly, the governor of Ondo State did something likewise, and they are celebrating it. Similarly, Rochas Okorocha, regardless of whatever drama that is playing out there, did something with palm oil. Front and all of these things. So you just must look into yourself. What are my strengths? How can I develop my strength? Everybody knows that
from your standpoint, what do you think is the strength of a state like Ekiti?
Ekiti, one, education. Education. Let them, first of all, invest massively in education, primary to tertiary, and also lure people to come in to invest in education there. Then secondly, look into mineral resource. That is why I told you earlier that he's going to bring his experience from the federal ministry into that place. You know what I'm saying? To catalyze it. Those are long-term, solution. But the short term is to invest massively in education, invest massively in infrastructure, and of course, agriculture. The people must survive. Plow whatever you get as federal allocation or whatever, or if you have a bailout, plow part of it to salary payments. Then those workers also are going to patronize the local people, local economy. Then make sure that your tax system is apt. Let it be very apt. Then you tax them.
Well, you tax a population that is
not heavy tax. Not heavy tax.
Okay.
But look, there are countries that survive on taxation.
Oh, yes.
In Europe, you understand? UK is a very perfect example. Then invest in technology. invest in technology. You can also do a JV with some companies, you understand, bringing in land as your collateral investment into it, and let them also bring some. I can give them tax holiday.
All right.
And
there's also the PPP thing, a partnership that goes in there. We have to thank you so much, Gani Fani, for coming on the program, and Comrade Ayodele Adewale, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Of course, let's remind our viewers, Comrade Ayodele is APC member and aspirant for Federal House of Reps. We wish you the very best as you aspire.
Wish you the best.
And direct primary is the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Direct primary is the way.
The way.
There you go.
Well, that's for Lagos anyway.
No, all the
All the very best.
All the very best.
As an Ekiti Kete.